Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Big Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 4 college basketball games for Monday, February 17th, 2025. Now, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, my top plays in college basketball, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Monday in college hoops. First up, we'll start in the MEAC as Coppin State takes on South Carolina State. This one is 7:30 Eastern. Now, we took Coppin State not too long ago when they played Maryland Eastern Shore, and that was an outright win for the Eagles, 62-57. I like Coppin State in this game as well. I think Coppin, when you look at this team at the beginning of the year, certainly there were struggles in non-conference play. They did play a very tough non-conference schedule, but they've started to play some competitive basketball. We saw them play really well against NC State in a 10-point final score, 66-56. We've seen them win some games outright in Division I, Navy, North Carolina Central, and that win over Maryland Eastern Shore. So, yes, Coppin State is still a bottom 5 team in Division I this year, but I still think that this is a program headed in the right direction. I like their chances to keep this one close and maybe have a chance for the outright win against South Carolina State, a team that shot quality-wise is not great. Coppin State's playing with revenge. They lost the first meeting of the season series. That still was a competitive game, and I think Coppin State's defense is even better now than it was back, on January 6th when those teams met. Coppin State should be able to get to the free throw line quite a bit as they scored a lot of their points from the charity stripe. South Carolina State's had some issues taking fouls defensively. Also, both teams I think are going to turn the ball over quite a bit. Both are aggressive defenses, and both teams have turned the ball over, a pretty high percentage this season. So expect a pretty sloppy game, a lot of fouls, a lot of free throws, like we saw in that first meeting. But this time I think Coppin State covers a number, and like I said, has a chance to win it outright. Next up, it's Morgan State and NC Central. This one is also 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, these are two teams with basically identical records. Morgan State at 10-14 overall, 4-4 in conference play. NC Central 11-14 overall, 4-4 in conference play as well. But I think NC Central is the much better team in this game. I think this is a great spot to take them. Playing at home with revenge, I think NC Central could win both the turnover battle and the rebounding battle in this ball game. And I think from a shot quality perspective, NC Central is also the better team. Now, these two teams met on January 7th, the first meeting. That was a great game. 102-98, the final score in double overtime. So very close game. In that one, we saw NC Central shoot just 58% from the free throw line. And yes, NC Central has had its struggles here and there from the charity stripe, but they're still 71% as a team overall this season, nowhere near 58%. I think we see the numbers regress toward the mean in this one for NC Central. I like their chances to get the revenge win and cover, and I'm going to go with the Eagles in this one. Next up, it's Kansas State and Utah. This one is 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN2. Now, Utah's coming off the upset win over Kansas on Saturday. Always have to be a little bit concerned about a letdown in that very next game for a team like Utah. But for me, Utah's playing a team in Kansas State that I think is a little bit overvalued because of its recent 6-game win streak. Now, that win streak was snapped on Saturday, of course. We took BYU. That was pretty much a wire-to-wire winner. But Kansas State, I still don't love them on the road right now. You got to give them credit for that win streak. That was including upset wins over Iowa State, Arizona, Kansas. But I still think much better team when they're playing at home. And I don't like this matchup for them against Utah. And I got to say, Utah's upset win over Kansas, sometimes we see teams, pull off upset wins, and it's because they were playing at home. They had a crazy good shooting performance. And, shot 45, 50% from 3, made 10 triples, and, it was kind of a fluke performance. But that really wasn't the case for Utah. They got outshot both from 2-point range, from 3-point range, and the free throw line percentage-wise across the board. Utah was just so strong fundamentally with a 16-6 offensive rebound advantage. They forced five more turnovers. It was just an excellent performance from Utah in that game. I think they can build off a performance like that. I think they match up well, and I still think the price is right. Maybe I wouldn't be backing Utah in too many situations after an upset win like that, but because they're playing an overvalued team and an overrated team right now in Kansas State, I think the price is still right with the Utes. Next up, we have Arizona and Baylor. This one is 10 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN. Now, both of these teams played on Saturday, and both teams played in some pretty close games. Arizona had a nice lead against Houston, but blew the lead in the second half, lost that game by 4 points, while Baylor won a game in overtime over West Virginia. Very important victory for the Baylor Bears. For Baylor, we know the injuries have really piled up for this team this season. Really, you could point to Arizona in a similar way, but Baylor, it seems like almost everybody in that starting lineup has missed time at some point in the season, but I still think this is one of the better teams in the Big 12 in the country from a shot quality perspective. And yes, they are shorthanded. When you look at that game against West Virginia, they only played 7 guys total in that ball game, and they are one of the smallest teams now in college basketball because we see a guy like Josh Ajanua out for the rest of the season. But I still think Baylor matches up pretty well in this game. They're playing at home with revenge. Still one of the best coaches in college basketball, and Scott Drew to lead the way. And I like their chances to pick up the W. This is a huge game. Baylor, when you play in the Big 12, you're going to have a few good spots down the stretch to build your resume. But after this game, you see games against Colorado, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, TCU. Nothing really, no quad 1 wins. Maybe the Cincinnati game, because it is a road game, considers as a quad 1 win. But, other than that, you play Houston at the end of the season, the last game of the regular season. So this is a big one for Baylor, seeding-wise and tournament-wise, and I like their chances to get the win. And that's it. Those are the games for Monday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, Ron Romanelli. Good luck.